All right, all right, all right. Welcome back to the channel. How's everyone doing out there? Sending you guys some love and healing vibrations. All right, I don't think you can call it a break really. I had a birthday. Happy birthday to me. I got a washer and dryer. Then I had to get it installed. Oh, that was a headache. Then I had to wash everything in my house. Then what else? Oh, I bought a car. She's nice. I named her Jaja, deservingly, because she's beautiful and she's my everything. Um, what else did I do? I really haven't done my gardening. That goes without saying. Gardening. I've been transplanting some strawberries. I've been watching a lot of garden videos. This is exactly what I do around this time of the year because it helps me to get back into the groove and into the like new ideas and trying to, do things different. This will officially be my fourth year here where I live now, and I have full access. I could have the biggest garden I want to have. And the last 2 years, last year I did very small, and I was upset because I didn't. I was making videos, so I made a very small garden so that I could make the videos and not have to spend so much time out there. So enough about my break. It really wasn't a break. But I'm back and I missed you guys. Something terrible. I missed the word. I missed studying. Today's going to be exciting too. We're going to talk a little bit about from this Megillah. See it? It was raining all day today and now the sun came out and it's doing this sunset thing and it's just gorgeous. Even the color in the room. I just love it. But this we're going to read from Appendix 4, which is page 1094 in the Holy Megillah, and the title is "The Lady Clothed with Sun, Moon, and Rainbow: Magdalene's Revelation to Those of the Era Called the Last Days." So this is exciting, and the first thing that came to my mind about this lady, the lady, okay, there ain't no this lady, or this is specifically talking about our mother Jannah, and is who Miriam was before she incarnated into the flesh as Miriam of Magdalene, right? So I thought of Revelation. So I'm going to put that up while I read. And because it's the first thing that came to my mind. Give me a second here. It's Revelations 12, actually, where it says, "There appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars." Well, I was reading this earlier and I noticed they had a little Bible trivia on the side here. So this is the King James version we're reading from right now, Revelations chapter 12. And they had a little Bible trivia saying, who do we think that this woman was in John's vision, right? And then you can answer it and it'll tell you if you're right. And it says Mary, the mother of Jesus. Now, if you've been following my channel, you've been learning about the Lady Christ, and you know that she was Yeshua's baby mama. So I'm not going to read any more of this because I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with this Revelations 12, but it does have some similarities with the Megillah, what we're going to read today. So I'm going to leave it up, but if you haven't read it, then you might want to check it out. But right now, we're just going to jump back over to the Megillah and see the differences, because this just says there was a woman, but in the Megillah, it tells us that it was the Lady Christ, okay, Miriam. And it's a little different what she was wearing. So here we are, verse 1. I, Sarah Jalil, being in the ancient land of the Greek philosophers on a mission not long after the martyrdom of the Magdalene by zealous followers of Paul, meditated in a meadow upon a mount of great beauty. After the meditation, behold, I read again my rendering of the 7 trumpets of the last days, a revelation by prophetess Anwa. So that's on my channel too. It's really interesting. It's called the Seven Trumpets. Okay. Verse 3, she says, I knew that this prophecy was primarily intended for Nazarenes of the future era called the last days, yet I desired to better understand it. Then, behold, there was a sound like celestial harps in the heavens above me. I looked up into the midday sky and saw seven angelic beings spread out in a circle, playing golden harps. In the center of the circle was the risen Magdalene, looking like I remembered her, but of larger size, and radiating bright light upon the crown of her head. Upon the crown of her head was a golden sun, as if it were a hat, and covering her pubic area was the image of a bright full moon. Across her chest, covering her breast, was a rainbow. So the sun is her hat in this version, and the moon is covering her privates, and there's a rainbow covering her breasts. So just envision that, because it's a little different than what it said here in Revelations. This more sounds like a chakra type of thing, right? But all right. So it says, the angelic harpists ceased their music, and though in the sky, fell to their knees and prostrated themselves before the Lady Christ. Then they vanished, and my adoptive mother, the Magdalene, spoke, saying, I heard your prayer for greater understanding of the era of the last days. Also, I wanted to let you see me in my resurrected body in order to comfort you. For behold, I have felt your tears since my martyrdom. Though she remained in the sky above me, I felt her hug me and caress my cheek. Then she spoke, leave your physical body where it sits. Let your soul exit your crown chakra and come to me. Instantly, I was with the Lady Christ within a golden sphere that looked like the replica of the sun. I looked at my body. It still looked like my physical body, but seemed to be made from something more ethereal. Jannah, the Lady Christ, that I knew as Miriam, the Magdalene, was now her normal size. She said, you are wearing a variety of etheric body and will now travel with me into one possible future. Verse 16 is where we're at in the Holy Megillah. This is the future that, unless humanity collectively changes course, will occur. For this is where the current path of humanity leads. Behold, we will travel in this solar orb to the very era of the last days that holy Enoch saw in vision. I will show you in the era in which the Holy Megillah will again go forth into the world. We shall see this planet as it will be just before the sixth trump era comes to pass. This is the era of two great choices that must be made. One of those choices is that humanity must choose between the solar civilization described by Enoch or its antithesis, planetary overheating due to an inappropriate use of other forms of power. The other of those two choices is not to cross the line and interface the natural brain with the artificial brain. To do that is to receive the mark of the beast inside your head. Verse 25, in this form, it has many forms. The mark is a code written in your brain that directly links your thoughts to a regional artificial brain. Ask a question, and the artificial brain will answer. And all these regional artificial brains are linked to the master artificial brain that in the land of the eagle is beneath a mountain and is called Global Organization Database. Verse 28, it says, in the tongue of the people of this land, the acronym of that name spells the word God. Though this brain of the beast is located in this land, behold, it knows no boundaries. It is linked to the global spider web and has no true allegiance to any one nation. It is a false god and offers false immortality, but delivers a hellish disembodiment as enslaved life. In the twinkling of an eye, behold, our solar orb hovered above what looked like a mountain made of ice. The ice was melting and flowing into the sea. Jannah, the Lady Christ that I knew as my adoptive mother Miriam, the Magdalene, said, behold, this future scene is the era of two great choices that must be made. As I told you, one of those choices is that humanity must choose between the solar civilization described by Enoch or its antithesis, planetary overheating due to inappropriate overuse of other forms of power. The melting of this mountain of ice is not an isolated event. Great regions of ice are melting prematurely and much faster than would be the natural cycle. Lo, the repercussions are many and profound. Next, our solar orb hovered above an island nation where the water was rising so high that crops could not be grown, and the homes of the people were being washed away. Miriam said, as the ice melts, the ocean waters rise. Next, we hovered over a forest of diseased, dying trees. Then we hovered over great regions of burning forest. Miriam said this toxic smoke harms the lungs of all who breathe it, in both animal and human. The poisoning of the air by this smoke is one of the many repercussions of planetary overheating. Next, we hovered over various farms the world over, one farm after another. Lo, the farmers appeared to be stunned and angered when they beheld their crops. Magdalene told me, due to the planetary overheating, strange unnatural weather patterns plague the farmers. Many of them are also plagued by water shortages. And then we hovered over masses of people in poor nations starving due to unnatural weather patterns that had made food scarce and too expensive. Next, we hovered over an overcrowded hospital where people were dying from the latest of several worldwide plagues. Magdalene said, these several plagues are seemingly unrelated, but lo, in truth, they are all caused or exacerbated by the planetary overheating. I tell you truly, in this era, many of the seemingly unrelated natural disasters, the diseased trees and burning forests, the rising waters and resultant floods, the crop shortages and water shortages, the strange plagues and the die-off of various insects, and the exploding populations of others, the sickness of bees and the die-off of birds, all these things and many more are directly related to planetary overheating. But now I will show you that all these problems, even planetary overheating itself, are related to the first great choice that humanity must make to convert to a solar civilization. It says they themselves are related in an unexpected way to the second great choice. I told you that the second great choice is to refuse to link the natural brain with the artificial brain. Prepare to be surprised. Next, our solar orb hovered above the ocean far from any land. Behold, I watched as some sort of flying craft emerged from the ocean. On it was the image of a red dragon. It briefly hovered and then disappeared in the blink of an eye. Then our solar orb was deep in outer space, where the small flying craft that I had observed entered the mouth of some sort of door on a much larger craft. On that larger craft was the image of a black dragon. Then our solar globe was back hovering over the spot in the ocean where the first craft had emerged. You guys hear this? They're watching some UFOs, whatever, which is so interesting, and I would like to talk about that, but it will make the video too long. But you know, there have been a lot of people that have reported seeing, these spaceships or whatever, right? And it talks about them in the Megillah, but it does tell us that these are Luciferian sky ships. So let's keep going, because this is something that's kind of big in our world. Disclosure, like, why wouldn't the government tell us that there were aliens and stuff like that? And I think that this Megillah will bring comfort and peace to a lot of people to understand what these things are. Okay, so it says, then our solar globe, we're at verse 58. Then our solar globe was back hovering over the spot in the ocean where the first craft had emerged. Magdalene said, the pilots of these crafts are seraph artificials. They have human servants that do their bidding, having been promised artificial immortality as their reward. Some of these servants can be seen by the public. They call themselves transhumanists and publicly call for the wedding of man with machine. Others are unknown and perform secretive work on behalf of the seraph artificials. even infiltrating governments. The artificial's agenda favors planetary overheating and its related problems. Those problems hasten the day that humanity will attempt to solve their many problems by wedding natural brains to artificial brains. Because the artificials have the capability to control the artificial brains, they can control every human mind that makes this link. They will, through their human servants, promise immortality via this link, but in truth, every soul already has real immortality. And this false immortality is an invitation to become enslaved light. I tell you truly, to merge with the spider web of the artificials is like being a moth caught in a natural spider web. All right, so we're at verse 68 now. And she says to recall the words of the sixth trump of Anwa the prophetess. We're going to pick that up in the next video. Because we got like 2 more pages before we're done with this Appendix 4. The lady Christ, clothed with sun, moon, and rainbow. So exciting. And what else I wanted to say about this King Jimmy was it does talk about the King James in Revelations 13 is where you have to go in order to read about the mark of the beast. And it's a little different than in the Megillah. It says, and he caused both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save that he have the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. So there's a few places it talks about this mark in the Megillah, but right here where we just read it with the Lady Christ, she said that it's a code that connects your brain to the master brain. So this more sounds like commerce and being able to eat, you know. Sounds more like, I don't know, but it's a little different. And the last thing I wanted to mention was about these ships that that's something else, right? Because we know, I've seen testimony from people and I've seen video footage of ships flying around that are not airplanes. And so this is pretty interesting that the Lady Christ has taken Sarah to the last days and telling her that this is right before the sixth trump. And the sixth trump is when man begins to wed to the machine. If you haven't seen the 7 trumps from the Holy Megillah, it's on my channel as well. And it's right before this appendix. It's like Appendix 3 and this is Appendix 4. So they do go hand in hand. Right before the sixth trump is where the Lady Christ is showing Sarah right now about these ships coming in and out of the ocean and going up the outer space and going into bigger ships. And there's something about these Luciferian sky ships in the book of Noah as well. And I just wanted to say this, that according so far what we've been given in this new edition of the Megillah, it's not a new edition, but it has more chapters than the PDF. And then the smaller book, if you got the paperback book, you're missing these chapters that I'm reading from now. So you need to get the hard copy to have these chapters. And then there's still more to come. He said it's going to be about 2 more years before he finishes the rest of the Megillah. But up until now, it's telling us that it's these Luciferian off-worlders that have pillaged all these different worlds in the Mother Ovum. It tells us who Beelzebub is. It tells us a lot. And they're the ones that come to other worlds and do what's being done right here on this one. So I just wanted to make a mention of that. I haven't seen anything in the Megillah about like peaceful beings, you know, coming to help bring you technologies and stuff like that. If they are, they're pretending. So we need to get out with the whole, you know, nanu stuff. Because if they're nanu, they are disembodied, maybe, I don't even know what to call them, but the Lady Christ said they're Seraph artificials. Okay, so that's even a whole nother ball game. it also calls artificials enslaved light. So, all right, I'm going to get out of here now, but stay tuned for part 2. This is really in depth, and it's very enlightening. And I don't want to stop talking, but I'm going to now, and I'll say a whole lot in the next video. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned.